Hello, 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 crossroads, witches and other interesting magical beings. Of course, I'm going to say I'm happy to be here. I always am. And I want to thank all of you who've taken the time to leave some of the most heartfelt comments. I read them all. Sometimes I know I don't reply a lot, but I do acknowledge them on some level. And I just want to let you all know that I really do take them in. And thank you so much for your kind words, your support, for telling me your stories, your personals, and in turn, when you write those comments, inspiring other witches and interesting magical beings who are reading them, you become part of that, pass the magic to the next generation. And I just want to thank y'all. And with that, we are going to be talking about banishings. Ooh! And some of the simplest ways to banish, and that is using the elements. You can very quickly go through them thinking about the logical way to use them. Of course, if I'm going to be using the element of earth, I'm going to bury it, and making sure that when we are using that whatever we're putting in the earth is not hurting the earth. Okay, that's the biggest thing when we're doing banishings with the elements. Using the elements is making sure that we are being kind to the element that we are using. We want to make sure that it can take it and banish it, destroy it. If I put it in the earth, I want it to rot away. I want decomposition. I want decay, okay? So I want to make sure I'm putting items in that is going to happen to them, all right? Next one, of course, we're going to talk about is the element of air, sending it into the air. A lot of times, we take, what do I have for my notes? Where we will burn it and make sure that the ashes go to the air. We will also, if it's something that it can be given into air without it falling to earth and laying there, type things. But I've always found when I'm using the element of air, it normally coincides with the element of fire where I've burned it and now I want to use air to send it up. We're going to go over to the element of fire on that comment where, of course, burn it is one of the best ways to banish. Fireproof container, and again, making sure that what you are burning is gentle to the climate, to the earth. Please don't create toxicities. That's why it's so important a lot of times if you are using parchment to use really good quality parchment because it burns better than like notebook paper, which is full of chemicals. So think about where you're using, write it on a bay leaf because bay leaves burn a lot easier. Write it on a piece of birch bark because birch bark, burns a lot easier. Looking at how you're banishing the items you're using, the ingredients you're using, and which element works with it. And the last one of it, of course, is water. Where in so many of our ancient grimoires, throw it into moving water is something they say. I like throwing things into water as well. Again, being mindful what I'm throwing into a creek, the lake, an ocean, whatever body of water, that I'm not putting toxicity into it. All right, I want to banish my problems, not kill all the little fishy. And that is the big thing when we are talking. Banishing with elements is one of the easiest ways to do things, but it's also something that we've really got to be mindful of, which is, all right, I know those ancient grimoires were telling you to throw mercury and things like that into moving water, but we know better, so we have to do better, all right? Some of those old back then ancient grimoiric recipes did not fully understand what they were doing when they left it out in the forest. You know, if you want to leave it out in the forest, which is another good way to banish, that's giving it to earth. You take it out there, let it rot, take it out there so the animals can eat on it. At the same time, making sure that what I'm putting out there isn't hurting the forest, isn't hurting the animals that may be eating on it. If I'm going to throw out, you know, if I'm doing like stinky vagina, stinky pussy working, where a lot of times we will use a papaya because it represents the vajayjay really well, and you can do a whole stinky up on it. And then typically you want to throw that out and just let things pick on it and let it rot and things eat at it. Being mindful that what I put in that is never going to hurt the animals. It's never going to hurt the forest that I am putting that working in. And I know a couple of y'all were just like, she said, what on that working? Yes, I did. It's stinky pussy, stinky vagina working. You can actually get a candle as well at Botanica's if you want to stink up somebody's vajayjay. It is a folk magic curse that's actually quite common. Also, you can do very similar things as like a limp dick working as well. You know, I like to use a paper towel roll, and then I get my paper towel and I soak it wet so that I can form the limp over. All right, and again, this is something that when I'm done with this working, I'm going to want to give it up to the elements. I'm typically going to bury it. I'm going to burn it. I may throw it in water, all right, type things. But when I have my ingredients, I know that I'm going to be doing that at the end. So I'm making sure that the ingredients that I'm using are always going to, you know, harm none, except for the target is the one getting harmed. But, you know, not putting things out that are going to kill all of the small critters and birds with that. And so banishing with elements is one of our most effective ways to get rid of our workings. We banish the working out. We can also use banishment to get rid of people, to get rid of situations, and we can also use it creatively to banish other things in our lives, which is, you know, this is all about your own personal creativity, your own personal connections to different workings that you're doing. And always make sure that you understand what these ingredients are, how these ingredients work together, and when you go to dispose of them, you are doing it in a mindful, respectful way for Mother Earth. Right now, we got more than enough problems with Mother Earth, with all the climate stuff going on. We're not supposed to be adding to it. So walk gentle through the elements when you use them for banishing. And if you want to know more about some of those other workings I'm telling you about, please join our 13 Moons community, houseofwitchcraft.com. You can go there, and we have virtuals with Zooms where you will hear me tell you the actual ingredients to the stinky vajayjay working, all right? And other wonderful little tidbits of folk magic, conjure, and low country southern magic that I work within. And so I think that's it for this one. And with that said, witches, go fly those brooms. Have a bright, blessed day. And as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and bobo. Ooh, for those that stayed till the end, I'm going to tell you a little story, all right? This has happened when I was working up at the Botanica. A woman came in and she said, I think I've been cursed. And was telling me that she thinks that somebody was doing a stinky vajayjay on her because her boyfriend had made a comment about "brew it don't smell," and she was feeling a little funky and everything. And so I asked her, my question to her was, how do you know you've been cursed? And she goes, well, my boyfriend's wife does not like me. And of course I'm like, I'd imagine so. I probably wouldn't like you either. I think she's done a stinky vajayjay working on me. And I said, well, she probably has, and you probably deserve it. You know, I'd not be messing with things that aren't yours and everything. And she just, you know, got all mouth on it and just was like doing this pout mouth in front of me. And I was just standing there. I'm like, I ain't gonna listen to this one. But this is a story on the stinky vajayjay working. And if you think somebody's done it to you, what some of the signs may be. And if you don't want to have anyone do this working on you, I would say, first of all, don't sleep with someone else's man. And that'll probably help a lot. All right. Story from the Botanica. Hope y'all liked it. And everything with that. Get out of there and stop listening to me.